I've always said life's like a poker game. You don't cry over a bad hand, you bluff your way to a better one. So when I found a smudge of cherry red lipstick on my favorite coffee mug, the kind of shade my wife Karen wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole, I didn't break down. I laughed. Not a sitcom chuckle, but the kind of laugh you let out when the universe decides to toss you a curveball wrapped in irony. Karen's allergic to bold colors. She's a beige lipstick, sensible shoes kind of gal. That mug? It was screaming someone else's story. I'm no detective, but I'm not an idiot either. Married 12 years, you learn your partner's rhythms. Karen's been predictable as a metronome work, yoga, book club, repeat. Lately, though, her schedule's been jazzier than usual. Late nights at the office, sudden weekend errands, and a new perfume that smells like she's trying to cover something up. Or someone. I didn't confront her right away. Where's the fun in that? I'm a guy who likes to savor the puzzle before I start breaking pieces. The mug sat on the counter like a taunt. I poured my coffee, black as my mood, and studied it. Karen was upstairs, humming off-key in the shower, oblivious to the little crime scene she'd left behind. I could have stormed up there, waved the evidence like a flag, but that's not my style. I'm more the slow burn type think campfire, not wildfire. Besides, I've got my pride. I'm 6'2", keep my beard sharp, and I've still got the kind of charm that makes waitresses blush. If Karen's stepping out, that's her fumble, not mine. I started noticing other things. Her phone, once an open book, now locked tighter than Fort Knox. The way she'd giggle at texts when she thought I wasn't looking. And the kicker? A new gym membership she never used, unless spin class is code for something I'm not invited to. I wasn't mad not yet. I was curious. Like a hunter tracking a deer, I wanted to see where this trail led before I decided what to do with the prize. That night, I cooked dinner steak, rare, because I'm not here to overcomplicate things. Karen came home late, hair damp like she'd showered somewhere else. She pecked my cheek, all routine, and started chattering about her day. I nodded, slicing my meat, letting her words bounce off me like rain on a tin roof. The whole time, I'm thinking about that lipstick. Who's the other player in this game? Some slick coworker? A random bar pickup? Or here's a wild thought someone I know? I didn't sleep much that night. Not because I was brooding, but because my brain was having too much fun spinning theories. By morning, I decided I wasn't going to be the guy who begs for answers. I'd find them myself. I've got my way, scalded a knack for reading people, honed from years of bullshitting my way through life's tougher deals. Karen's playing her hand, but I'm holding aces. The question is, how do I play them? I was rinsing that damn mug in the sink, watching the red stain swirl down the drain, when my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Just one line. You deserve to know. My grin was sharper than the knife I'd used on that steak. Game on. That text you deserve to know set on my phone like a lit fuse. I didn't reply. Replying's for suckers who tip their hand too soon. Instead, I sipped my coffee, leaned back in my kitchen chair, and let the words marinate. Could be a prank, could be a good Samaritan, could be the other guy's conscience taking a joyride. Hell, for all I knew, it was Karen testing me. But one thing was clear. The universe was dealing me a new card, and I wasn't about to fold. I'm not the paranoid type paranoias for guys who don't trust their own gut. Mine's been honed by years of navigating life's curveballs, from shady business deals to bar fights I walked away from with all my teeth. So when Karen breezed downstairs that morning, all yoga pants and fake cheer, I played it cool. Asked her about her day, tossed in a joke about her book club reading 50 Shades again. She laughed, but it was thin, like she was reading a script. I noticed her phone was glued to her hand, screen angled just out of my sight. Cute move, babe. I've got better ones. The day went on, normal as a sitcom rerun. I mowed the lawn, fixed a leaky faucet, did all the husband crap that keeps the world spinning, but my brain was elsewhere, plotting. That text had me curious, and curiosity is a dangerous thing for a guy like me. It's like handing a kid a lighter and a can of spray paint. I decided to do some recon. Nothing crazy, just a little fact-finding to spice up my week. Karen says she was hitting the gym that evening. Funny, since her gym bag looked lighter than my Red Bull. I offered to drive her gentlemanly, sure, but also because I wanted to see where this workout was happening. She left at 6 sharp, and I gave her a head start before tailing her in my truck. I'm no James Bond, but I've got enough sense to keep my distance. Her car weaved through traffic, and I followed, radio low, humming some old Springsteen to keep my head clear. I half expected her to pull into some seedy motel, but Nosh parked at a coffee shop. Classy. I stayed across the street, engine off, watching. She went inside, all casual, and there he was. Mr. Lipstick, I presumed. Mid-30s, slick hair, wearing a blazer like he's auditioning for a rom-com. Not bad looking, but the kind of guy who checks his reflection in every window. Karen slid into the booth across from him, and they leaned in close, like they were sharing state secrets. I didn't feel rage, just a weird mix of amusement and pity. This was her upgrade. I've got boots with more personality. I snapped a quick photo with my phone, blurry but good enough. Evidence, not for her, but for me. I'm building my case, piece by piece, like a guy assembling a model plane. Patience is my superpower. I watched them for a bither hand brushing his smug grenade, then I drove home, chuckling at the absurdity of it all. Karen's out here living her soap opera, and I'm just waiting for the commercial break. Back at the house, I cracked a beer and scrolled through my phone. That unknown number hadn't texted again, but I wasn't sweating it. Whoever they were, they tipped me off, and I was grateful. I wasn't hurt, more like a guy who'd bet on the wrong horse and still had cash for the next race. Relationships are like that. You roll the dice, sometimes you crap out, but I'm not the type to sulk. I'm already thinking about my next move, and trust me, it's gonna be a good one. I was halfway through my beer when my phone lit up again. Same unknown number. This time, a photo. It's Karen and Blazer Boy caught mid-laugh at that coffee shop. Someone's been following her. The text below it read, "Want more proof?" I leaned back, grinning like a wolf. Oh, this was getting good. That photo on my phone, Karen in her coffee shop Casanova, framed like a cheap postcard, felt like a plot twist I hadn't seen coming. Not because of her, mind you. I'd already clocked her game. No, the real kicker was whoever sent it. Someone else was out there playing their own hand, snapping pics like a wannabe PI. I didn't know whether to thank them or check my locks. Either way, I wasn't rattled, just intrigued. Life's too short for panic, and I've got a knack for turning curveballs into home runs. I didn't text back. Replying to mystery stalkers is how you end up in a bad thriller. Instead, I saved the photo, cracked another beer, and let my brain chew on it. Karen was still out, probably giggling over lattes with Blazer Boy, oblivious to the fact she'd landed herself a paparazzi. Me? I was cozy at home, plotting like a chess player who spotted a checkmate 5 moves out. The question wasn't just who Karen was cozying up with, it was who else had a stake in this circus. The next morning, I played the dutiful husband, made pancakes, extra syrup for Karen, because I'm not above a little irony. She came downstairs, hair mussed like she'd slept on secrets, and gave me a smile that didn't reach her eyes. I smiled back, wide and easy, like a guy who's got no worries. We ate, talked about the weather, the neighbor's ugly mailbox, normal stuff. But I was watching her, cataloging every twitch. She checked her phone 3 times in 10 minutes, thumb hovering like she was expecting a bomb to drop. I didn't mention the text, the photo, or her gym session. Why spoil the surprise? Work kept me busy that day. Running my own auto shop means I'm elbow deep in grease and invoices most hours. But my mind was freewheeling. I started thinking about Blazer Boy. Was he married? A coworker? Some rando she met at a wine bar? And the mystery texter, who the hell were they? A jealous ex of his? A nosy friend? Or wild card someone with a grudge against Karen? I wasn't short on theories, just facts. So I decided to dig a little deeper my way. That evening, Karen said she had book club. Shocker. I nodded, told her to have fun, and waited 10 minutes after her car pulled out before I grabbed my keys. Tailing her again felt like overkill, but I wasn't in the mood to sit home knitting. This time, she didn't go to the coffee shop. She drove to a bar downtown. one of those trendy spots with overpriced cocktails and guys in skinny jeans. I parked a block away, slipped inside, and found a corner booth with a view. Karen was at the bar, laughing with Blazer Boy, who was gesturing like he was auditioning for a TED Talk. They looked comfortable, like they'd done this dance before. I ordered a whiskey, neat, and kept my hat low. Not that Karen would have noticed Mesh was too busy twirling her hair. But then something caught my eye. A woman at the other end of the bar, nursing a martini, staring daggers at them. Mid-40s, sharp cheekbones, the kind of vibe that says she's not here for fun. She was subtle, but I'm good at reading rooms. Every time Karen laughed, this woman's grip on her glass tightened. Bingo. My mystery texter? Maybe? I didn't approach her. I'm not that reckless. But I filed her face away, paid my tab, and slipped out before Karen could spot me. Driving home, I felt like a guy who just found a new puzzle piece. But the box was still missing half the picture. Karen was cheating, sure, but this wasn't just about her anymore. Someone else was in the game, and they were playing dirty. When I got home, my phone buzzed. Another text from the unknown number. No photo this time, just words. She's lying to him too. I laughed out loud, the sound bouncing off my empty living room. Oh, Karen, you're juggling more than I thought. I poured another whiskey, raised a toast to chaos, and started planning my next move. Then the front door creaked open. Karen was home early. Karen's keys hit the bowl by the door with a clink, sharper than usual, like she was announcing her presence to an empty stage. I was sprawled on the couch, whiskey in hand, phone face down on the coffee table, still glowing with that last text. She's lying to him too. The words were practically winking at me, daring me to make a move. But when Karen walked in hair, slightly mussed, lipstick faded, eyes darting like a deer in headlights, I didn't flinch. I just raised my glass and grinned, like a guy who's got the punchline to a joke she hadn't heard yet. She froze for a split second, like she wasn't expecting me to be so awake. I could have pressed her, asked why book club ended before the wine was even poured, but where's the sport in that? I'm more fox than bulldoglet. Her thinks she's got the upper hand while I circle the trap. She mumbled something about feeling off, maybe a headache, and I nodded. All sympathy, like I was auditioning for Husband of the Year. Inside, I was laughing. A headache? Sure, babe, and I'm the next Dalai Lama. She shuffled upstairs, claiming a need for a shower second one today. By my content, I stayed put, sipping my drink, letting the night settle around me. That text was burning a hole in my brain. Karen wasn't just cheating on me, she was playing Blazer Boy too. What was her angle? Stringing him along for kicks? Double dipping on attention? Or was she weaving a web even she couldn't untangle? I didn't care about the why not yet. I cared about the how far this went, how deep the lies ran, and who else was tangled in it. The martini woman from the bar kept creeping into my thoughts. Her glare had been surgical, like she was carving Karen and Blazer Boy up with her eyes. Was she the texter? A scorned wife? A jilted lover? Or just some random with too much time and a grudge? I wasn't ready to chase that lead, but I filed it next to the rest of my mental Polaroids. My Autoshop brain loves a good rebuild, take the pieces apart, lay them out, figure out what fits. This puzzle was starting to look like a V engine with a few bolts missing. I decided to shake things up. The next morning, I left for work early, but not before slipping Karen's phone out of her purse while she was still snoring. I'm no hacker me tech skills peak at rebooting the router, but I know her passcode. Same one she's used since we met, because originality's not her strong suit. I didn't have time to deep dive, so I just checked her texts. Nothing obvious, no heart emojis or late night confessions. She's smarter than I gave her credit for, probably deleting as she goes. But I found one thread, a number not saved, with a single message from last night. Meet me tomorrow. Usual spot. Sent at 11 p.m. right when she was supposedly nursing her headache. I put the phone back, heart steady, mind racing. Usual spot, huh? That's a breadcrumb I could follow. I wasn't mad, more like a kid who just found the next level in a game. Karen was out here living her spy novel, but I was writing the sequel, and it was going to be a banger. At the shop, I kept my routine, tight wrenches turning, oil changes humming, but I couldn't stop thinking about that text. I needed to know more about Blazer Boy, the Martini Woman, the whole damn cast. So I did what any self-respecting guy with a hunch would do. I called up Tommy, my old buddy from high school who's got a side hustle digging dirt for divorce lawyers. Nothing illegal, just a knack for finding what people don't want found. I gave him the basics, Blazer Boy's description, the bar, the coffee shop, told him to keep it quiet and quick. That night, Karen was all domestic bliss, cooking pasta and humming like she hadn't a care. I played along, twirling spaghetti, tossing out dumb jokes about my day, but I was watching her, waiting for a crack. She didn't give me one. She's good, I'll give her that Oscar-worthy, even. But I'm better. I've got my pride, my plan, and a guy like Tommy who's probably already pulling threads I hadn't even seen. I was clearing the dishes when my phone buzzed in my pocket. Tommy, faster than I expected. His text was short. Got a name? You're not gonna like it. I glanced at Karen, wiping down the counter like she wasn't burning her life to the ground, and my grin went razor sharp. Oh, this was about to get real interesting. Tommy's text got a name. You're not gonna like it thung in my pocket like a loaded gun. I didn't check the follow-up right away. Not because I was scared, but because I'm the kind of guy who likes to savor the moment before the hammer drops. Karen was still wiping down the counter, oblivious, her ponytail swinging like she was starring in a detergent commercial. I dried my hands, gave her a wink, and said I was stepping out for some air. She barely nodded, already lost in her phone, probably texting her usual spot buddy. Fine by me. I had my own game to play. Outside, the night was crisp, the kind that makes you feel alive. I leaned against my truck, lit a cigarette, yeah. I know, bad habit, but so's a cheating wife fan pulled up Tommy's message. The name hit me like a tire iron to the chest. Mark Sullivan. Not some random barfly or slick coworker. Mark freaking Sullivan. My old college roommate. The guy who'd crashed on our couch for a month after his divorce 5 years back. The same Mark who toasted at our wedding, calling Karen, the best thing to ever happen to you, man. Apparently, he meant it literally. I didn't curse or punch the truck. I laughed. Low and rough. The kind of laugh that scares squirrels. Of all the gin joints, Karen picks Mark. The guy's got the charm of a used car salesman and a hairline that's been retreating since we were 20. I could see it, though him playing the wounded puppy, her eating it up like it's her job. Mark always had a knack for sniffing out weak spots. Guess Karen's was a midlife itch he was happy to scratch. I stubbed out the cigarette, my brain already shifting gears. This wasn't just about Karen anymore, it was personal. Mark knew me, knew my life, my house, my damn coffee mugs. That cherry red lipstick? Probably some cheap fling he was juggling on the side, because Mark's never been a one-woman guy. And Karen, bless her, thought she was special. I almost felt bad for her. Almost. I wasn't ready to confront either of them. Rushing in's for amateurs, and I'm more of a slow-cooked barbecue guy. Let it simmer till it's tender. Tommy's text had a second part. Want me to keep digging? Got a lead on a third player. That had to be Martini Woman, or maybe someone else entirely. I texted back, dig, call me tomorrow. Then I pocketed the phone and went back inside, cool as a winter breeze. Karen was on the couch now, flipping through a magazine, acting like she hadn't just turned my life into a daytime drama. I grabbed a beer from the fridge and sat across from her, stretching out like a king. She glanced up, and for a second, I saw it, a flicker of guilt, or maybe just nerves. I didn't push, just sip my beer and let her stew. Silence is a hell of a weapon when you know how to wield it. The next day, I threw myself into the shop rebuilding. A carburetor keeps the hands busy and the mind sharp. Tommy didn't call till noon, but when he did, he sounded like a guy who just found gold in a junkyard. He tracked Mark's recent Moves credit card hits at that downtown bar, a motel 2 towns over, and a flower shop receipt for roses that sure as hell didn't end up in my kitchen. But the real gem, Martini Woman. Tommy didn't have a name yet, but she'd been at the bar the same nights as Karen and Mark every time, like clockwork. Not a coincidence. She was either tailing them or playing her own angle. I hung up, my grin sharper than a socket wrench. Karen was out here thinking she's running the show, but she's got no idea she's got an audience. Mark's in deep, probably sweating bullets if he knows someone's watching. And me, I'm the guy with the best seat in the house. popcorn in hand, waiting for the curtain to drop. I was locking up the shop that evening when my phone buzzed again. Unknown number, same as before. No text, this time just a video clip. I hit play, and there's Karen, stepping out of Mark's car at that motel, her laugh echoing in the grainy footage. But it's what's in the background that stops me cold. Martini woman, lurking in the shadows, her phone raised like she's filming it too. That video clipped Karen giggling like a schoolgirl, climbing out of Mark's car, with Martini woman playing ninja in the shadows felt like the universe handing me a script I hadn't read yet. I stood in the empty parking lot of my shop, the sodium lights buzzing overhead, and replayed it twice, not to wallow, but to study. Karen's carefree strut, Mark's hand grazing her back, and that woman, her phone catching it all like she was Scorsese directing a low-budget betrayal. I didn't know whether to applaud or start taking notes. One thing was sure, this wasn't just my story anymore. Someone else was writing chapters, and I needed to know why. I didn't text back. Mystery filmmakers don't get quick replies. That's how you lose the upper hand. Instead, I locked up, drove home, and let the pieces rattle around in my head like loose bolts. Martini woman wasn't just some scorned sidekick. She was deliberate, calculated, maybe even a pro. Was she working for Mark's ex? A PI hired by someone else? Or here's a thought that made me chuckle, Karen's book club buddy with a vendetta? Nah, too soap opera. But I wasn't ruling anything out. Karen was home when I got there, curled up on the couch with a glass of wine, some home renovation show droning in the background. She looked cozy, domestic, like she hadn't been sneaking around a motel with my old pal Mark. I didn't mention the video. Didn't mention much at all. Just grabbed a beer and sat at the kitchen table, flipping through a parts catalog I didn't need to read. She glanced over once, twice, like she was waiting for me to start a fight. Sorry, babe, I'm not that predictable. I gave her a lazy grin and kept flipping pages, letting her squirm in the silence. The next morning, I called Tommy before the shop opened. Guy's voice was rough, like he'd been up all night chasing leads. He'd ID'd Martini woman, Claire Redmond, 42, works as a paralegal downtown. No obvious connection to Karen or Mark, but Tommy's gut said she wasn't random. She'd been married once, divorced, messy, and had a rep for holding grudges. Sounded like my kind of gal, minus the stalking. Tommy was still digging bank records, social media, the works, but he warned me. This one's got layers, man, be careful. I laughed. Careful's for guys who don't know how to duck. I spent the day elbow deep in a transmission rebuild, but my brain was elsewhere. Claire Redmond. The name didn't ring any bells, but her face sharp, cold, like she could cut glass with a glance, was burned into my memory. Why was she tailing Karen and Mark? If she was the texter, why tip me off? Revenge? Boredom? Or was I just collateral in her own private war? I wasn't sweating it more like a guy sizing up a chessboard, figuring out which piece to move first. That evening, I decided to rattle the cage a little. Karen said she was meeting a friend for dinner vague. As usual also, I offered to drop her off. Her eyes widened for a split second, like I'd caught her mid-lie, but she recovered fast. Saying it was fine, she'd drive. I shrugged, all easy, but I was already planning my next play. After she left, I waited 10 minutes, then followed. Not to the restaurant she named, please, I'm not that green, but to the usual spot from her phone. That motel again. I parked across the street, lights off, and sure enough, there was Mark's car, same one from the video. No Karen yet, but I wasn't here for her. I was looking for Claire. And there she was. Not even subtle this time, leaning against a lamppost, phone in hand, watching the motel like a hawk. I didn't get out. Didn't need to. She was the one who moved first, slipping into a car parked nearby and peeling out fast, like she'd seen something she didn't like. My phone buzzed right then. Unknown number, no message, just another photo. This one wasn't Karen or Mark, it was me sitting in my truck taken minutes ago. Claire's car was already gone, taillights fading in the distance, and I felt a grin split my face. Oh, sweetheart, you just raised the stakes. That photo of me in my truck, snapped like I was the star of some gritty indie flick, didn't spook me. It pissed me off, sure, but in the way a good poker hand gets ruined by a better one respect for the play, not the player. Claire Redmond, or whoever was behind that unknown number, wasn't just watching Karen and Mark anymore. They were watching me. And that's when things get fun. I'm not the guy who folds when the table heats up. I'm the one who starts bluffing harder. I didn't peel out after Claire's car. Chasing shadows is for suckers, and I've got better things to do than play tag in a motel parking lot. Instead, I drove home, slow and steady, Springsteen low on the radio, letting my brain chew through the new math. Claire's a paralegal. Not a ninja snapping pics of me means she's either got balls of steel or someone's pulling her strings. Maybe both. Either way, she just painted a target on herself, and I'm not the type to miss a shot. Karen wasn't home when I got there, shocker. Her dinner with a friend was probably room service with Mark, but I didn't care. I poured a whiskey, neat, and sat at the kitchen table, staring at that photo of me. It was grainy, taken from an angle that screamed amateur Claire wasn't exactly Annie Leibovitz. But the message was clear. I see you. Cool, Claire. I see you too. I saved the photo, added it to my growing collection of Karen's midlife crisis exhibits, and started thinking about my next move. The thing about betrayal, it's not the knife that stings it's the hand holding it. Karen's hand, Mark's, now maybe Claire's. But I'm not bleeding. I'm building. Every text, every photo, every lie is another brick in the wall. I'm stacking around them. I've got my shop, my truck, my charm that still turns heads at the diner. Karen's out here thinking she's rewriting her story, but I'm the one holding the pen. Next morning, I hit the shop early, tearing into a busted alternator like it owed me money. Tommy called around lunch, voice tight like he'd been chain smoking. He dug deeper on Claire, turns out. She'd worked on Mark's divorce case years back. Not his lawyer, but close enough to know his dirt. No direct link to Karen, but Tommy found a burner phone registered to her name, same area code as my mystery texter. Bingo. Claire wasn't just a scorned ex or a nosy bystander, she was in this up to her sharp cheekbones. Why she was looping me in, though, that was the missing spark plug. I told Tommy to keep his ear to the ground, especially on Claire's recent moves where she's been, who she's meeting. He grunted, said he'd call when he had something. I hung up, wiped the grease off my hands, and felt that old fire in my gut. Not anger, excitement. This was a game now, and I was playing to win. That night, Karen came home late, smelling like wine and excuses. I didn't grill her, just offered a beer and asked about her day, all casual, like I wasn't sitting on a powder keg of evidence. She rambled about her friend's new job, but her eyes kept flicking to her phone, like it might bite her. I let her talk, nodding along, my grin easy as ever. She had no idea I was 3 steps ahead, and I wasn't about to tip my hand. I was rinsing dishes when my phone buzzed again. Unknown number, no text, just another video. This one was different, told her. Time-stamped a month back. Karen and Mark at a park, her head on his shoulder, his arm around her like they were posing for a rom-com poster. But it wasn't Claire filming this time. The angle was too high, too steady security camera maybe. And at the edge of the frame, barely visible, was a figure watching them, not Claire. Someone new. I froze, dishwater dripping from my hands, as Karen's voice floated in from the living room, asking if I wanted to watch a movie. My laugh was quiet, sharp, like a blade being honed. Oh, this just got a whole lot bigger. That video, Karen and Mark playing lovebirds in the park, with some shadowy figure lurking like a bad plot twist, had me staring at my phone like it was about to confess. I didn't jump or swear or spill, the dishwater still dripping from my hands. I just grinned. The kind of grin you flash when the game board flips and you realize you're still holding the best cards. Someone new was in this mess, and they weren't Claire. This wasn't just a triangle anymore, it was a damn pentagon, and I was the only one who knew all the angles. Karen's voice drifted in from the living room, all sweet and clueless, asking if I wanted to watch some rom-com she'd picked. I called back, "Sure, babe," smooth as bourbon, while my brain was already tearing into this new puzzle piece. The figure in the video was too blurry to ID, hood up, head down, could have been anyone. But they weren't there by accident. Nobody stands that still that deliberate unless they're hunting. Question was, who was their prey? Karen? Mark? Or here's a wild thought me. I dried my hands, pocketed the phone, and joined Karen on the couch. She curled up next to me, like we were still the couple in our old Polaroids, back when her smile didn't hide a double life. I played along, arm around her, chuckling at the movie's dumb jokes, but my mind was miles away. That security footage wasn't clear style, she's all shaky iPhone vibes, not high-angle stealth. Someone else was pulling strings, and they wanted me to know it. Why else send me the clip? I wasn't mad, just curious as hell, like a guy who's found a locked box and knows he's got the tools to crack it. Next morning, I hit the shop with a thermos of coffee and a plan. Tommy was my first call. Guy sounded like he hadn't slept since high school, but he was all in. I told him about the video, the new player, the park. He whistled low, said he'd tap a buddy who could pull city camera logs. "You're in deep, man," he said. I laughed. Deep's where the good fish swim. I asked him to double-check Claire's burner phone to see if it's pinged anywhere near that park. If she wasn't the filmmaker, I needed to know where she fit. Work kept my hands busy, replacing a timing belt's good for focus, but my head was spinning theories. Maybe Mark had another side piece, someone jealous enough to stalk. Maybe Karen's book club was a cover for something shadier, and this was her past catching up. Or maybe call it a hunch this new shadow was tied to me, someone from my own history sniffing around. I've made enemies over the years, mostly guys who didn't like my fist in their face or my name on a better deal. But this felt too personal, too precise. That afternoon, Tommy texted, "Camera logs are a bus park system, got wiped last month. Weird, right?" Claire's phone pinged nearby, though. Not proof, but close. Wiped cameras? That's not bad luck, that's someone covering tracks. Claire being in the area didn't pin her as the shadow, but it kept her in the game. I texted back, "Find me that fourth player." Tommy's reply was just a thumbs up. Guy's not big on emojis, so I knew he was hooked. When I got home, Karen was out yoga. She'd texted, because of course. I used the quiet to dig through my own past, pulling out old contacts, names I hadn't thought about in years. Nobody stood out as a hoodie-wearing voyeur, but I wasn't expecting a neon sign. I was halfway through a beer when my phone buzzed. Unknown number, no message, just a photo this time. Not the park, not the motel, it was my shop, taken today through the front window. Me, wrench in hand, mid-laugh with a customer. In the corner, reflected in the glass, was that same hooded figure watching from across the street. I set the beer down, slow, my pulse steady, but my grin gone feral. Whoever you are, you're getting bold. And I'm not the guy who blinks first. That photo of me in my shop, with the hooded figure's reflection staring back, wasn't just a warning, it was an invitation. I didn't pace or panic or call Tommy to play cavalry. I leaned back in my kitchen chair, beer sweating in my hand, and let the moment sink in. Whoever this shadow was, they weren't just tailing Karen and Mark, they were circling me, like a shark sniffing blood. Fine, I've swum with sharks before. Time to bait the hook and end this game my way. I didn't tell Karen anything. She came home from her yoga session, all flushed cheeks and forced smiles, and I played the part, cracked a joke, poured her a glass of wine, acted like the photo wasn't burning a hole in my pocket. She didn't notice the edge of my grin, didn't see the way I watched her fumble with her phone. Poor Karen, thinking she's the mastermind while the world's writing her exit scene. I wasn't mad anymore, just ready to close the book. The next day, I set my trap. Tommy had come through late the night before, bleary-voiced but triumphant. The hooded figure, not Claire, not Mark, not even Karen's side hustle. It was Evan Walsh, a name I hadn't heard in a decade. Old business rival, the kind who'd sell his own kids for a better deal. We'd tangled years back over a shop lease, things got heated, fists flew, and he walked away with a limp and a grudge. Tommy tracked him to a burner phone matching my texter, plus a rental car spotted near the park and my shop. Evan wasn't just watching, he was orchestrating, feeding me crumbs to blow up Karen's affair, probably hoping I'd crash and burn in the fallout. Classic revenge, served cold. I didn't confront him directly, that's not my style. Instead, I left a voicemail for Mark, all buddy-buddy, inviting him to the shop to catch up. Then I texted Karen from a burner of my own thank you. Tommy saying I knew about her and Mark, and we needed to talk tonight. No details, just enough to rattle her. Finally, I sent Claire a message through a dummy email, hinting I had dirt on Mark's latest scams. 3 lures, 1 hook, the shop, after hours where I'd be waiting. They didn't all show, but they didn't have to. Mark rolled in first, nervous, trying to play it cool. I poured him a whiskey, kept it light, let him sweat. Karen's car pulled up next. She must have followed him, thinking she'd catch me off guard. Claire was a no-show, but I spotted Evan's rental across the street, parked too close for subtlety. Perfect. I didn't need a showdown, just a stage. I handed Mark a folder, fake paperwork I'd slapped together, claiming I was selling the shop. His eyes lit up, greedy, like he thought he could swoop in. Karen burst through the door, face red, ready to spin lies, but she froze when she saw Mark. I didn't yell or accuse, just leaned against my workbench, grinning like a wolf, and said I was done playing house. Told them both I was moving on, shop and all, to a better game. Mark stammered. Karen blinked back tears, but I was already walking away, keys in hand. Outside, I nodded at Evan's car, just enough to let him know I saw him. He peeled out, taillights fading, probably cursing my name. Let him. I'd already won.